This is Victoria Boyes from Innovative Marking Systems. I'm going to show you how to set up an art file to make film and cliches for pad printing using Illustrator. We're in Illustrator already. We're going to start with a new document and make sure we're in millimeters and set the page, the artboard, to the size of the cliche we're eventually going to make. In this case, 125 by 300. I like to work in rulers, to have rulers open, even though it's absolutely not necessary, but if you don't know where to find rulers, go to View, Rulers Show Rulers, or Command R. Also make sure you have your layers and transform palette out. These are the two palettes I use the most when I create artwork for cliches. If you don't know where to find those, you can find them under Window, Layers, Transform Palette. First, we're going to start with the frame of the cliche, which we use the square shape tool here. If you just click it once, you get the measurement box. So you can put in exactly the size frame you want, 125 by 300. Click OK. This is why I have the transform palette out. If we click on the corner, upper left corner of the artboard and set the frame to 0 X and 0 Y, it's exactly on the artboard, and you can see the width is 125 and the height is 300. Make sure the frame has an empty fill, a black frame, 100% black. Okay, now we're going to start getting organized with the layers palette. So this is the first layer we're on. We're going to call it the plate. So you just double click the layer so that it highlights the name so you can change the name to whatever you want. So I'm going to call this plate. And then I'm going to lock this because I don't need to touch it right now. So I'm going to make a new layer and call that positions. In this layer, we're going to list measurements on the outside of the artboard so we know how to measure, how to line up the artwork. So if you divide 125 by 2, you're going to get 62.5. So we're going to put that on the top of this artboard. Just use a bold white. White so you can see it, make it large. You can even place it using the transform palette at exactly 62.5 millimeters. I also like to have that measurement on the bottom of my artboard too, in case I'm just zoomed in down here, I can see it. And you can just copy paste or Shift Option Command drag and you get a second duplicate. So this again is the center of my plate at 62.5 millimeters. I'm going to show you that the plate is 300 millimeters by 125, just in case we open up and we forget. I'm also going to put a measurement on here of 237.5, and I'll explain why I have that measurement. But this is the positions layer, and I'm done with this, so I'm going to lock it. I'm going to do another layer and call it ink cup. This is just going to be a guide to represent your ink cup, which on this size plate would probably be a 115. So I'm going to use this circle tool, click, and I'd already done one before, but you can put in your exact measurements of the circle you want and hit OK. I'm going to make sure it's fill on empty, give it a blue frame, making it cyan because We are not going to print this on the film. This is just a guide. And using the transform palette again, you can make sure you have the center of the object in the center of this little block. So the center point is going to be at 62.5 to 37.5. Now I got this measurement 237.5 by taking if you take the bottom of this ink cup and you place it at the bottom of the plate down at 300, and then -5, we're going to set the ink cup. It's not going to come all the way down here. We're going to set it back 5 millimeters from the edge of the plate, and you can do the math right in here in this transform palette. So if you -5, put it on the center point again, you can see where I got that measurement, 237.5. This is one of the reasons I love the transform palette, because you don't need a calculator. You can do all your math in here. So this ink cup is in the home position on the plate, and this center position of the ink cup is where we're going to align the artwork. So we're going to add a new, we can lock this ink cup layer, add a new layer, and this is where our artwork is going to go. So with my layer open, or on the artwork layer, I'm going to go get my logo artwork that I'm going to place in here. I'm going to select all, cut, get rid of that. I'm going to place it on my artwork layer. Just went behind here. And I'm going to make sure it's at the exact measurements of 62.5 to 37.5. And you can always drag guides to, if that helps visually for you to see where you are. And the way to make sure the guides are exactly at the same measurements are to go unlock them, highlight them, go to the transform palette, put the exact measurement. It's going to be at 237.5. Then go back, make sure you go back and lock your guides so you won't keep selecting them. If you don't like the guides, just hide them. Keyboard command colon, or show guides, hide guides, however you like to work. So we're on the artwork, and it's in the center of the ink cup, and whatever size you need it to be. If you need to change the size of your artwork through the transform palette, just make sure this is linked, or else just change the actual shape of your artwork. So make sure this is linked, and you can put on whatever size you needed the artwork to be. And just make sure the artwork is at 100%. I'm going to bring the swatches palette over here. The artwork has to be 100% black to print on the film. So the frame is 100% black, the artwork is 100% black. You can also name the plate if it helps you. I like to put the name on the plate layer, whatever works for you. We usually put numbers at the top of ours so we can tell whose plate is what. But if it's in-house, you can put whatever makes sense to you. You can put it at the top. Some people put their information at the bottom, so when it's in the machine they could see it. I would guess that's just preference. So I'm going to call it the Tosh logo. And this one color art is ready to be output for film. You can just hide the ink cup, hide positions, or however. If you need to place it on a different board and print it, you can select it all. And everybody's output system is different, but we always do bright reading emulsion side down so that the emulsion goes on the plate. But some people need to flip it, reverse it. You would just select and reverse, reflect, and then they do the emulsion on this side, whatever works for whatever system you have. So this is just a one color artwork, but I'm going to show you now how to do a 3-color artwork in case that's what you need. So we're back. Just use the same template. You can save this template and use it over and over. This is the size plate you're going to keep using. So from here, this was just a 1 color, so I'm going to go import my 3-color artwork. 3 colors, open, paste it on my artwork layer. It keeps going back here. I'm going to place it exactly at the 62.5 to 37.5 mark. Do it whatever size you needed. If you're changing it while it's already lined up, just make sure it's on the center, make sure it's locked. So I'm going to need 3 plates, one for the cyan, one for the gray, one for the pink. Now what you do is you take your artboards palette. Over here on the right, I'm in artboards. And I'm going to duplicate my artboard. And I'm going to do it again. So I have 3 plates. So let me get this out of the way for you. I have 3 plates that I'm going to put the 3 colors on. Just so you know, the reason the ink cup didn't come when I duplicated is because I had it locked. But we don't need it anymore. I'm just going to hide that. So it's very important when you have a logo that's 3 colors that you keep the logo in the exact same position on all 3 plates, and you just delete the other colors so that there's only 1 color per plate. So the first one, I'm just going to delete the cyan. Leave the cyan. Second one, leave the gray. Third one, leave the magenta. And you can change the names of your plates up here. Cyan, gray, magenta. I guess those should be centered too, but I'm just being picky now. And you have your 3 plates with the 3 colors, and now you have to make sure all of the colors are 100% black. And I'm going to bring my swatches palette back here again. So I'm going to deselect the frame, or you can just lock the frame, select all the artwork, and make sure all the artwork is 100% black. So the text is 100% black, the artwork is 100% black, the frame's 100% black. And you're ready to output to film. Just make sure your plate is unlocked, and you can take all this, copy to whatever size your output needs to print your film, and you're good to go. Hopefully this answered your questions. Let us know if there was something we didn't cover.